Hi everyone, I'm Cherie and we are going to make gelatin butterflies. So what you will need is water, gelatin, 28 gauge wire, a long nose plier, side cutter, just a small sharp knife, and then a couple of brushes. So first of all, my gelatin mixture is 3 tablespoons of cold water, 1 tablespoon of gelatin. So you're going to take a tablespoon, a level spoon, and just sprinkle it over the water so that it can soak up really nicely. I normally leave it for 5 to 10 minutes until it's nice and spongy. After that is ready, you can either choose to pour it out into a double boiler or pop it in the microwave for say about 20 to 30 seconds until it's completely melted before we can start coloring the gelatin into the type and color of wings we want to make. Okay, so once you've taken out your bowl out of the microwave or off the double boiler, you can add your coloring. So you can either choose to color with gel or with powder. Gel gives it a very glossy finish and powder gives it a matte finish to a paper finish. I'm using gel because I want a glossy finish on my butterfly. So when you mix in your gel, just don't mix it too vigorously because you don't want too many bubbles in your mixture. It will pop too easily because when you dip your wire into the mixture, you want to create a bubble look. So you can see this one is a bit marble. So what I did was I added one color, mixed it completely through, and then I added another color, but I left it undissolved in my mixture. That gave me the marble look. Some butterflies don't have one coat of color, it's got a different variety of colors. So while this cools down a little bit, because if it's too hot, you won't be able to get that bubble, it will pop the whole time. And remember to be patient. It's not easy to get it right the very first time. So that is resting there. So I'm using my 28 gauge wire, long nose pliers, side cutter, my knife, spoons, and then my flour paste. So my flour paste and my wires and the powders that I'm using, you can all get on Crystal Candy's website. They ship internationally and you get an absolute great service from them. So I'm going to go and I've got 4 wires here, so 1 for each wing. I'm leaving it long, I'm not cutting it because I want to be able to hold my butterfly at the bottom. So the first step, what I do, I measure off at least 5 centimeters and then I bend my wire down. Now I'm going to measure 15 centimeters and bend the other part down. So these 2 corners I am bringing together like this, and I am securing them at the bottom. You can leave it as long as you want for now until you need to attach it to the butterfly body. So all 4, I'm going to do this. Now that you have your 2 loops, I'm going to take 2 of them And just like this butterfly here, the bottom half, I am going to bend the side of the wing just a little bit flat, like that. You can almost create, even you can leave it a teardrop as well. Just open it up then a little bit more. Open this one up as well. Just widen it here into a teardrop. I do like to flatten the one side a tiny bit. Okay, so that's the two bottom wings. And now for your top wing. I'm going to measure out 5 centimeters from this half until here. And I'm going to bend this half. So that is 5 centimeters. Now I am going to flatten the bottom part into a bottom teardrop, like that, my bottom teardrop. And then I am going to bend the top part of my wing like that. I'm going to bend it inwards. And now for the sharpie point here, I'm going to take my long nose plier and I am just going to give it a squeeze. And then I am going to take this top part and just round it out like that. You can do any type of wing. If you've got a template next to you, you can copy the template as well. And there's the one wing. So now instead of having to try and figure out doing the opposite side, I do the same side, I just turn it back over then. So 5 centimeters, bending the corner like that, creating a teardrop at the bottom, pinching the top wing, not a lot, well it depends on your wing, so it doesn't really matter. And then I am giving it a dent inward, like that, and I'm bulging out the top part. And then when I turn it over, I've got my two top wings, like that. So now I am using half a teaspoon of flour paste. The flour paste is specifically designed for humid conditions, rainy conditions, so it dries completely hard. This is quite amazing to use. I use it for my flowers, my sugar flowers. I make sugar shoes, so it works for anything basically cake related, to make it nice and hard so it doesn't lose shape when it starts to rain and there's a lot of humidity hanging in the air around. So soften it in a ball and then just working it out a bit longer, I would say about 5 centimeters, so it's thicker at the top, going smaller downward. Now I'm going to take my knife and I am just going to run it around the body for the head, creating a nice dent like that. And then I'm going to do the rest of the body, just give it a couple of dents here at the bottom. Okay, now I would leave that to dry normally for overnight till it's nice and hard. So this one I already made here. Now for dipping your wires into the gelatin. So if your mixture cooled down too much and it's quite thick, you might need to pop it in the microwave for 3 or 4 seconds. Otherwise, you don't want a thick consistency around the wing. You still want it nice and thin and see-through. So let's see. If I hold my bowl like this, I'm going to dip my wire into the mixture. Now the motion that you want is to be lifting it from the back there it popped. So you are lifting the back part first, lifting. Okay, this mixture is a bit too jelly, a hard jelly, so I'm just going to pop it back in. Now the rest of the residue I'm just going to wipe off. Now let's try that again. So you want to dip your whole wire into the liquid and lifting from the back out first. And remember, if the mixture is too hard, it will pop. Not that easy the first time. Remember to lift from the back first, up, out. And go slowly, otherwise the bubble will pop too easily. The worst part is when it pops right at the end. That does tend to test your patience a little bit. Just go slow. And there we go. You can see there. Don't worry about the darker shade. It will give it a bit of character when we do paint the veins on the butterfly. I'm going to dust the body first. I am just going to add a little bit of purple here and there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of black just to darken it. So I used Crystal Candy So Intense Black, and I used her Vivid Violet Purple. You can see here, So Intense Vivid Violet. And what I did was, I'm going to use my purple wings that I already made. You can see they've got a bit of the marble ones. So the top wings I did cut a bit shorter. I wanted to add them into the body, and then the bottom two I left a little bit longer. I will be taping these two together like this. Okay, so firstly part. can see, the gelatin is quite strong. It doesn't break easily. Now these two bottom halves, I'm just bending down the wire. And then I'm going to tape them together like this. Now I can move them to where I like. So before I stick this to the body at the bottom, I am first going to draw the veins on my wings. Okay, so I'm using the So Intense black powder for the veins, and I am mixing it with the confectioner's glaze. So the confectioner's glaze is a liquid that I mix with, especially her powders, but you can use with any powder as well. It dries within seconds, so you don't need to have to wait hours for something to dry when you paint it, especially if you paint on chocolate. It is amazing to paint with on chocolate, and it dries, like I said, immediately. So I'm just having here in a little bowl, just going to squeeze out a little bit. So I'm using a brush with a very small tip. Okay, so first of all, I am going to paint the outline of my wings. Now that that is done, I am going to give my wings very thin veins. I'm going to use the diamond range of Crystal Candy, the Purple Rain. It has an undertone of purple, just be careful. And I am going to give my butterfly just a bit of shimmer. Okay, so now I'm going to take a bit of glue and I'm going to add it right here in the middle. And I am placing, you can leave it like that, on the table. I am placing the butterfly on top of the part that is glued. So by the end of the day, the bottom part will stick to the body, and you can leave it to dry like that. Okay, so now for the little antlers, I use 28 gauge wire. So I just cut them off a little bit. And then I took my long nose pliers, and right at the end, I gave it a good twist. Like that. Okay, so now they are white, but I'm going to paint them black. So first of all, just be careful, it's still wet, yeah? I hope you enjoyed the video. You can find some of the products that I used on Crystal Candy, like the flower paste, powders, glaze, wires, and tape as well. And enjoy making this beautiful little butterfly. Bye!